Hello and welcome to the programme which looks at the Holy Land. I am Paul Calvert. Psalm 121 verse 1 and 2 from the New King James Bible says this: I will lift up my eyes to the hills, from whence comes my help. My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. I'm with Gidon Ariel from Root Source, and we're talking today about Bridge Builders. What is Bridge Builders?
Bridge Builders is a program that I came up with after trying to be a bridge builder myself for over a decade with my friend Shlomo Schreibman of Israel 365, where we decided to reach out to so many of our friends who are in the Jewish-Christian friendship space and to honor them because they've been honoring that activity for some of them for all of their lives, some of them for as little as a few years. But we're seeing something new here, that where there used to be chasm, I hope that's the right word, between the Jews on one side and the Christians on the other side, little by little, people like this, activists like these, are building a bridge between Christians and Jews. And so we created a website. It's actually root-source.com/bridgebuilders, where we interviewed about 70 such bridge builders, and you're one of them, Paul.
Why did you want to become a bridge builder?
That's a great question. I grew up as an Orthodox Jew in New York. I moved to Israel for high school, and when I was in the army, I was walking in the street. I was walking on the sidewalk, and I saw a building with a sign on it, and I went over to read that sign because that's one of my hobbies, to read the signs in Jerusalem. You know, you can get a bachelor's degree in Jewish history just by reading the street signs here. Seriously, the sign was of an office. It was the ICEJ, International Christian Embassy, Jerusalem. And I was surprised because Christian, we know what they are. Jews, I know who we are. And embassy means friends. And I wasn't familiar with the idea of Christians and Jews being friends. But I went inside, discovered this phenomenon, picked up a brochure, told the receptionist who said, could I help you? And I said, no, just looking. And I realized that these were Christians who not only didn't hate Jews, but they loved Jews. And I said, just like I learned in kindergarten, if somebody extends their hand in friendship to me, then I grasp that hand and shake it. And so ever since then, that was about a decade ago, maybe even 2 or 3 decades ago, I don't remember. But very soon, I decided this is going to be my life's work.
Has the attitude changed over the years?
Has the attitude. We have a phrase in Hebrew in the Torah, Keshem shepartzufehen einam domin, kach deotehen einam domin. The same way that people's faces are dissimilar, thus their perspectives on life are not the same. So has there been a change? What did you say? A change in perspective? Everybody's got their perspective, and things are changing all the time. In general, though, the more people like you and me who say, this is something that God is putting on my heart, the more people feel, wow, if they can do it, maybe I can do it too.
And how many people do you have participating in the program?
Of bridge builders. Well, we've reached out to hundreds, but 70 people were finally chosen to be bridge builders this year. I say this year, it actually was about 2 years ago. You know, life stopped still for about a year of COVID. But we've got about half of them are Jews, half of them are Christians. I don't know exactly half, but from Israel and outside of Israel, women and men, you name it, we've got it.
Yeah, it's one of those questions. Now, you launched the 2020 list of bridge builders, top activists in Christian-Jewish engagement. Is the list of people all around the world, and what are some of their countries?
Well, I'll be frank, and it really started out as Gidon's friends. So most of my friends are English speakers, mostly in Israel and in the United States, but we have people from the Philippines, from England, besides the United States, we have Canada, of course, France, Germany. I think we've got a pretty nice coverage of the world.
Now, you published a Bridge Builder book. Tell us a bit more about that.
I am trying to make this, to really show how much these people, they are appreciated. So many of the people were very excited when we said we want to create a website like this, and they saw it and it was very nice, and some of them shared it with their audiences. But I decided to create a book listing like a who's who, so that these people would be able to see the book, put it on their shelves, maybe for other people, give it as gifts to their friends. Root Source, which is the organization that I lead, we have content primarily through videos, but we've also published about a dozen books, and this is one of them. And it's something that people really feel excited to. Some people still feel excited to get their name in a real book.
Has it been difficult to do bridge building during COVID, or have you had to adapt?
I certainly had to adapt.
Yeah.
For me, it's been easier because people have been more willing to meet via Zoom. And so I was able to do 3 or 4 Zoom meetings a day sometimes, where if I would be lucky, I would be able to do 3 or 4 meetings a month when I'd have to schlep someplace, not to mention if I have to go to the United States or something like that. On the other hand, I've been growing in my main activities of Root Source over the past year and a half. So it worked out that we didn't have a Bridge Builders 2021. But with God's help, we will have 2022 with another 70 people. It'll be harder because most of the people are there already, but we're going to try to find more people who are in this activity as well.
What's the common bond that Christians and Jews share?
It's the Old Testament, of course. It's the Bible. It's the God of Israel. And it's the 2 main commandments that I know the Christians know because they learned about it in the New Testament. That is, love the Lord your God and love your neighbor. Well, guess what? Those are exactly the 2 major commandments in the Jewish religion as well. We call those mitzvot, ben adam lechavero and ben adam lemakom. Commandments between man and his fellow man, and commandments between man and God. And so that's it. And but really, I think less about what brings Jews and Christians together, and think more about what brings a Jew and a Christian together, to be friends on a personal, one-on-one level. And that's really the most important thing that we have to look forward to, I think.
Today, are we living in a time where Jews and Christians really need to stick together? We have each other's backs. There's anti-Semitism and radical terror out there. So do we need to come together more?
Well, I think you answered the question with the question itself. We were talking about this a little bit more, and what we have today with social media and with mainstream media is a lot of anti-Semitic and anti-Christian and anti-traditional values going out all over the place. And those of us who share so many traditional values, we have to stick together and try to make sure that these values don't get trampled by the wayside. And the way to do that is just to be positive, to, as we said before, to spread light amongst the entire world, among all the people of the world. Some people aren't happy, and so you try to smile at them. But people who are happy, you try to be together with them, and you try not to argue with them, try not to debate with them. And you realize that you can share the debate, you can save the debates for later when you have a nice, strong basis of friendship that you can build on. And then you can start discussing what you disagree upon. And interestingly enough, often you will find that people are confident enough to listen to you what they disagree with, which is fair. We're different. God created us that way. Let's hear what we have to say, but when we're comfortable and ready to. Until that, let's talk about what we have in common.
Can people nominate bridge builders? Like if there's people listening and they're a bridge builder working in Jewish-Christian relations, or they know someone, can they nominate someone?
Absolutely. Just go to my website. That's www.root-source.com. Root like in a tree and source like in water. Send me a message. My name is Gidon Ariel on the contact form. And also, if you look for Bridge Builders, one word, on that website, you'll get to the Bridge Builders 2020 list and reach out to me and say, I think that you missed somebody. And with pleasure, we will honor them in 2022, I hope.
What's your hope for Bridge Builders 2022?
Well, I hope that we'll actually do it this year. I hope that we'll do anything this year. Who knows what tomorrow will bring. And if we can get to 70 more people this year, that will be amazing. And I'm hoping that that this year we'll do 70, and the next year 70, then we'll have hundreds and hundreds of bridge builders online, and people will recognize this is something that isn't just crazy. It's crazy what we need to do. It's what God wants in the world for his children to just play nice together.
And what's your prayer for Jewish-Christian relations?
My prayer for Jewish-Christian relations is that it will continue to grow. I believe that this is maybe something where Jews and Christians disagree, that I believe that God created the world positive, and we have to go back to that positivity. And if we just focus on that, then we will grow it. Anything that you focus on grows. So I pray that more people will recognize that they don't even have to focus on Jewish-Christian relations, just to be positive about it, just to say, wow, that sounds like something interesting. And people who will say, I want to focus on that more, then that will just be a greater blessing for Jews, Christians, and the entire world.
What's your website again for people who'd like to know more?
Thank you. It's www.root-source.com. root source, root like in a tree, source like in water, root source. And if you search there, or if you do roottheirsource.com/bridgebuilders, you'll get to the Bridge Builders site as well.
Okay, Gidon, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Paul. Looking forward to meeting with you again.
Thank you for joining us today. Pray that God will move by his mighty power in the Holy Land and bring his peace.